Those numbers, by the way, from some of the radar estimates. I'll start closer locally, and you can see the areas here locally that saw the heaviest rain from Delaware County, Muncie, over to Richmond. I showed you that a bit earlier. Now let me broaden the view. Then your eye really is drawn to this. Look at the amount of rain. This is about a foot of rain that they're looking at there, and that continued along the Mississippi River Valley as well, just south and east between St. Louis and Paducah. As much as 6 to 12 inches of rain fell there. These are the areas where we saw that flooding, unfortunately, in the southern and southeastern part of Missouri. As far as our numbers here, we only at the airport officially received less than 1/4 of an inch of rain. Now, there were some of you that had 2 to 3 inches of rain even in the city, but officially at the airport, that was the number that they picked up. This was very hit and miss. Now, we're going to get into a much drier pattern. Temperatures are into the 60s and 70s, and I point out the 60s because as we get into this new pattern, it's not going to be quite as humid. Now, it's going to be a little bit humid for tonight because we've had all of that leftover rain, but this new pattern is going to be one where if we can keep the atmosphere relatively dry, temperatures will be able to cool off a bit overnight. That previous heat wave that we had a week and a half ago or so, we weren't able to cool off. We had overnight lows into the mid-70s. We're already at 75, and I think we'll make it to 67 for tonight. Overnight lows should be able to drop with that lower humidity. Unfortunately, the air that dries off and cools down quickly can also warm up quickly, which means that over the next several days, mid to upper 80s are going to be possible. And then heading into next week, we'll probably do mid to upper 80s on Monday. Although Future Track wants to get us to 90 in the city, most of you will be into the 80s. I do think we'll make it into the 90s by Tuesday and really through Thursday. Now, because it is a bit drier, we may be able to overachieve on these temperatures. We may be able to get a little bit warmer. The last time we had this heat wave, we couldn't quite get to those temperatures. It was so humid. It's hard to get our atmosphere to warm up when it's that humid. We weren't able to get to, I think, only 93 was our high temperature for a couple of days. We may be able to exceed that if it's very, very dry. Humidity does start to sneak back up, and we may start to flirt with some heat advisories as we look to the end of the week. As the humidity creeps back up, though, so do the rain chances. Stray storm possible for your Thursday. Scattered storms possible on Friday. That'll help to drop the temperatures a bit back into the 80s by the weekend.